It's a good time to choose a spiritual path now. I feel there is so much openness than how it used to be before. People are more open to yoga, to tantra. Even my colleagues from school, most of them, they know about it. I feel lucky to be on the spiritual path in these times because there is a certain openness in people to this subject. So I feel that I can share with everyone, even with my family and friends and colleagues, because most of the people are open to yoga and to spirituality, very interested in tantra when they hear about it. I feel that I can share a lot until a certain point. There is a lot of information now. You can Google search everything that you wish to know about Tantra, about various spiritual subjects, astrology, anything that you might be interested in. But what really helps me is to actually practice these things, and then I can even understand better what they mean. Because, sometimes you can search something, you can read, and then you don't really understand the depth of it. But the fact that I am on the spiritual path, I can take advantage also of putting into practice this old knowledge shared for thousands of years, and then in the same time I can also use all the knowledge that is available for us today.
Being a spiritual woman in the modern times doesn't necessarily mean to be in a cave and pray in order to be a spiritual woman, or to practice very rigid techniques in order to have that intense feeling that you are a spiritual woman, but to combine it in the most harmonious way. And of course, it requires certain sacrifices, aspiration to combine it and to also be happy and relaxed while you are doing everything that you are doing, but also to have a precise goal, what you want to have, what you want to achieve in your life in this spiritual field or evolution in the spiritual way, let's say. And it goes hand in hand, because spirituality and modern life can be blended, and we can kind of create like a unity between these two. I started to be on a spiritual path, and I was also having a social life. And I felt that everything that I was learning in the spiritual field, I could easily practice it in my working time with my colleagues. And I remember how I learned different techniques that helped me, as for example, the art of blessing. I remember how I wanted very much to improve a relationship with some colleagues, and then I started to practice the art of blessing in order to check if it really works. And that was my experience, my experimental phase, that I was so enthusiastic, and I was having a lot of aspiration, but in the same time I was very curious to see how this really works. And I think this attitude of riding, or I would say like riding a wave as it comes, with all the package, all the techniques, all the methods that we have reached from the spiritual life, to then apply it and apply them in our modern life, in society, in the way we deal with relationships, with our parents, with the work, with family, with everything that we do. I think that is the mastership, let's say, and I find it very interesting to do it like that. It can be easily done when you have this capacity to embrace spirituality and being a modern woman in the same time, and have this capacity to see the large perspective and the higher perspective in the same time.
So for me, to be a spiritual woman in modern times is by itself something very interesting, because Without spirituality in the times that we live in, I think it's very difficult, especially for us women. I think that women and spirituality bond together very beautifully, because the soul of the woman, without something to awaken it, without spirituality, is not so happy, is more always in the look for something else. And spirituality is a necessity for women in our modern times, because let's say if before, in the times that passed, women would be focused on other activities such as being housekeepers or having children. In our modern times, women are forced to do everything and to know everything. They need to know also how to be a mother and a lover and a businesswoman, and to study and to take care of themselves. And they don't have anyone to do all these roles. So a woman needs to be more complex than ever. And spirituality offers a lot of tools for that and helps women to discover themselves in their most nuanced and beautiful aspects of their soul.
So to be a spiritual woman in the modern life, it's more, first of all, interesting. And not because, for example, they are not so good moments, because I have the opportunity to learn and to transform, and in the same time to help the other people around me to transform themselves also.
So I think it can be a grace and a challenge at the same time. A grace because of being aware that it is a spiritual journey, and to be able to choose to go through it consciously and have the methods to do it. But at the same time, it can be challenging, because nowadays in modern society, you see people worried about buying a house, about getting married, about not getting a virus, but you don't see so much people burning to perfect themselves. So when you are surrounded by a society that, generally speaking, forgot the meaning of what it means to be alive, then you might get challenged, because you start to become aware that there is more to it than what you were told.